So hello and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to talk about politicians giving jobs to people who have an affiliation with their political party. So I was looking at this article by The Guardian. So it says that this is back in August, I think. Small business ombudsman contracts to Liberal linked firm without tender. So apparently the government's got a $80,000 in which they can actually give the contract out to a company without tender. So tender means it would be all anonymous. Whoever actually puts in the lowest or the best bid, probably not the lowest, but the bid that is actually the best would actually win that tender. So, and this one actually went to, I'm not going to actually, so the ombudsman is actually a former Liberal chief minister of ACT, and chief minister is just like a premier from 1995 to 2000. So she has quite extensive links to the actual Liberal Party, and the company that they actually gave the tender to is Agenda C, and they also it was actually run by former Liberal candidate and advertiser Carrington Bright Brigham. That's it, Brigham. And so both of these people personally founded that company, and also the ombudsman are both Liberal Party members or former members. I'm not too sure the current status, but they're saying that this isn't actually a conflict of interest. Well, it might not be. It might be that they just had the best contract that they were actually looking for, but generally it wasn't a tender, so there actually was no competition. Probably that I don't know. They haven't said anything, but you can actually. I'll put a link to this article. You can actually read it in full, and he's also. So this is Carrington Brighton. Looks part of the Federal Liberal Party digital strategy team for Tony Abbott in the 2013 election. He's also a former chief advisor for the Liberal aligned firm Crosby Texer. Should have quite say this is actually quite. I'm actually reading from the actual Guardian article. So now I would not say that it's only the Liberals that do it. Labor would also do it, probably to a less extent, but all the focus now is on Liberal, federal Liberal. And these states generally go under the radar because they're less known and probably a lot less. The contracts are probably also a lot smaller. But, I would like to know if all contracts should actually be tendered out with the $80,000 threshold removed. So then we don't get this thing that, well, it might not be, but there is a perception that this is favoritism. So you're part of the Liberal Party, I'm part of the Liberal Party, I'm going to give you a job. So that's what it actually comes out as. And it doesn't matter what they say. They can say anything. They can deny all they want. That's why it looks at. And here we have another article. Minister defends $2.2 million contract for two donors. So the Federal Indigenous Affairs Minister is waving off concern over contracts he awarded without tender to companies linked to Liberal Party donors. So they got the donors that donate to the Liberal Party, and these companies are actually linked to them. Ken White, spokesman for the AAP Vanguard Health, was recommended by the Finance Department assessing under Health Department standard guidelines to provide eye surgeries in Aboriginal communities. Now, the $2.2 million contract was given to deliver services at twice the market rate. Ooh. So that is also very suspicious. Twice the market rate. So obviously someone's charging a bit too much. But Mr. Wyatt's spokesman says that Vanguard Health contracts had originally been signed under the then Labor government, maybe. Vanguard Consulting, which runs Vanguard Health, was donated $21,000 to the Queensland Liberal Party. It comes as an ex-staffer, Mr. White, who blew the lid on MP's failure to address bullying and poor procedural issues at his office. So that's a different issue. We're not going to talk about that. Okay, Johnson told Nine News on Monday that Mr. White sacked her in 2018 when she raised the alarm. Okay. And then there's not that much information on it. You can probably actually find more in the article, but that article went from talking about the contracts to harassment. So the two different issues, they shouldn't have actually been in the same article. Maybe could have done two articles and linked it. But this is like the Murray-Darling water contracts. That Mr. I forget his name. No, he cares. He's not that important. Mr. I value family life while destroying my own family. Anyway. But this comes to the question. When is the cutoff point about your interactions with your colleagues or your friends? Like if you're part of the Labor or Liberal Party in the past, and then you go to make a company, what connection does there have to be for it to invalidate? Like you want a contract or a tender, so it has to invalidate your ability to actually get there. It's actually going to be very hard to actually stamp this out, because someone might genuinely, like these two companies, have asked for a contract and tender. Maybe those people, they might not have been part of the Liberal Party. No, maybe they don't know each other. They've never met. Even in their inner circles in the Liberal Party, probably don't connect to each other, because they've got different factions. So it's just too hard. It's just a perception that this is a wrong thing to do. Maybe, whoever wrote the articles has an agenda. I don't know. Just not accusing anyone of anything. I just like to highlight the issue that, governments, they cannot be actually trusted, because you do have corruption in all governments. You got people outside the government, someone in the government that wants to take advantage. Now, a lot of people in the government will say, no, I can't do that. Some people will say, yes, I will. And you just don't know who. So, that is my rant for today. So it's just a perception issue. People look at this and say, they were part of the Liberal Party. They were part of the Liberal Party. This looks like it might be a wrong thing to do. So maybe they need to actually clarify it. Or maybe they should just be more careful in the future. But anyway, we need to actually keep these bastards accountable. Thank you, and don't sue me.